Here we go again. It's time for another lecture. This time we are still on navigation, but the topic for today is sending data. We are going to look at sending data to a screen, but also getting data back from another screen. And this is something that we want to do numerous occasions. We want someone to input something, and depending on what we input, we will have different answers. Maybe be sent to different pages, or maybe the result of the action will be something completely different depending on what you input. And in doing this, it's really important to remember that screens are just widgets and widgets are classes. And that means that the easiest way to actually send something to another screen is by using the constructor. So when we create a new screen, we also create a new constructor taking the data that we want to send. So if we have a screen called the answer page, which we'll be looking at in just a few seconds here, then we can create a new constructor with the following signature, answer page, and then the super key just to send the super key up to the superclass, but then also require the answer. In this case, that will be a string. So we'll set this directly. So that means that we will have something called answer, which we will be forcing the user to supply when they want to do this. All right. So what we will be doing is to use a text controller to hold the text, and then we will be creating a private method, just like in the last lecture, for the navigation itself to push, and that makes use of the constructor, which is basically the only difference to previous examples. In the receiving screen or page, we will check the value and either display the correct image or a sad smiley. So that's the idea. And the application is here with a question which we need to answer in order to get to the next screen. So who was one of the wisest Jedi in the High Council and one of the last to be killed during the Purge? And I know it depends on whether you look at the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith or not. But let's say that we do something stupid here, like the king. If we answer that and press a button, we will get to another page, but it will say, sorry, not correct. However, if we write a little let's have a pause and back again. Sometimes when I change the projects so fast that I do, it doesn't clear everything. So let's say we give the correct answer instead, and I'm pretty sure that you've already know that the answer is Shakti, and we'll check the answer, and it was correct. And we get a nice image picture of Shakti as well. But the most important thing here is to get back to the code to see exactly what's happening. So the idea here is that we of course have a stateful widget, which is the quiz page, this first page, and then it has a state, and here we have the text editing controller, just like before. And what this does then is to collect the data. It shows the questions, and it has a text field, collects it all, and then on pressed it goes to navigate to answer screen, which is where the magic will happen. Well, actually the magic of navigation, because the magic of receiving the information is done in the answer page, the second page, the one we get to if we push submit over there. where we have this constructor. We can see that it is class answer page, and we have a constructor which requires this answer, and therefore when we do the material route here in the navigator, we send this answer as well, which is the text from the text controller into a string. So we just send this string to the new screen. The new screen has a variable called answer, so this answer like this will just copy the value to answer, making it possible for us that down in the body of our application, just check is correct if the answer trimmed to lowercase is Shakti. If that is true, then we will show the image of Shakti. Otherwise, we will show a sad smiley, as you saw previously, in a very large size, like this. And we do the same over here for just the text beneath, namely saying correct if is correct is true, otherwise sorry, not correct. And then we pop it if we want to go back to the question. So it's really nothing strange with sending data to another screen. We just need a constructor which takes this kind of data that we want to send. It is a little bit more involving when we want to return a value from a page. If we want to do that, we have to do the navigation and then await the answer, which is a way of doing it with the await keyword, which is kind of part of this concurrency that's available in Flutter and most other programming languages. Basically meaning that we keep it alive, waiting for it to finish and then collecting the answer. So when the second screen is done, the process can actually return a value. And let's have a look at that. And here we are in this favorite band, where we have a request from the application to press the button to type in your favorite band. So I'll press here, and in this nice little text field I will say that my favorite band is Pink Floyd, like that. Submit, and we're back on the first page again, where it says great, you listen to Pink Floyd, and you should too. However, let's have a look at the code. The code isn't very strange to begin with, but it's in two parts, so to say. So this first page or screen that we see over here, it has to have in a nullable string. You could do it in another way as well, but we check here if favorite band is not null. If it isn't null, we have entered something. So we've written Pink Floyd. So if so, we will print out great, you listen to, and the favorite band, Pink Floyd. And then if that is not true, namely that favorite band is actually null, then we want the text press the button to type in your favorite band to be visible. And that's what you see to begin with. So it depends on whether this favorite band is set or not, whether or not we see the first or the second piece of text. The elevated button pushes us to the next page using this navigate to band input screen. And that is done in this private method. Okay. The first thing that we see is that this is declared as async. That means that this will be a method that will await an answer. it will await an answer from something. We don't know exactly what, so not everything will be waiting. So in this case, we will get a band name by awaiting the navigator push answer. Basically holding this in memory while we do a navigation to band input. When this is done, when this part, the push part is done, so we are back here again, we have this if statement saying that if band name isn't null, we will set the state for the favorite band name to band name like this. And that's the favorite band name over there. So what happens on the second screen? Well, actually that one is completely as we've seen before. Namely that it is a stateful widget with a state. It creates, we can try it again, we can go here again, and it will create a text field with some input decoration, and it will have a elevator button with a press where we take the band name from the text controller, and if it is not empty, we will send it back in the pop. That's important. So with the pop, we get it back again to the method that we saw above here. The navigate to band input screen, which would await it. But that's pretty much how you do it when you navigate. You do it by either sending to a constructor or by using await and async to await the answer from the screen that you navigated to. There's of course plenty more that you could do with sending and getting data, and also with navigation as such. We haven't had time to look at navigation bar, tab bar and drawer and so on, but they work in a similar way to the stuff that we've already covered. So therefore, by having a look at the official documentation, and maybe also have a look at pub.dev, you will find a lot of things that can help you out. So navigation, important and something that you need to look further into, but you've had the necessities of it explained here and what you need in order to create the assignments. So with that, I thank you very much for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.